Welcome to the European Truck Racing Championship. Welcome at the Autodrome in Most. This is round 2. We've been waiting a long time for that. And here you can hear some NASCAR action behind me, but we're going to see some truck racing action. Of course, we are so happy to be back. 17 drivers on the grid we will see today. But let's have a look back first, because as you might have noticed, we must cancel the truck racing weekend at Nurburgring due to the devastating floating catastrophe in Germany. And Rolf Werner was responsible at that weekend. Rolf Werner, let's have a look back to the Nurburgring. What happened?
Nurburgring, yes, my home race. We had to cancel it due to the flood disaster. Ambulances, doctors, firefighters had other things to do than truck racing, and honestly nobody from us was in the mood to do a race, so it had to be cancelled in any case. And on the other side we again saw what a big family the truck family are and is, and everybody took all his food for the weekend, which was prepared, all his water and everything else, and went down to Ardenau and gave it to the firefighters and to help a little bit. And even after the Nürburgring, they didn't forget it. They came back from their workshops to help during this flood disaster. So Nürburgring has been cancelled this year, but next year it will take place again. Yeah.
We hope so too. So this is a huge thank you for all the helpers, for all the supply chain and everything. Very great. But let's look forward then now. What do we expect here from the Autodrome in Most?
Yeah, Most is always a very attractive and exciting racetrack. And in addition, we have public audience. We have public again in the paddock. So it's not only exciting racing, but also a little bit to come back to pre-COVID times. And it's getting better and better. And everybody is in a good mood. And it will be really an exciting event, yes.
I hope you are in a good mood too. We are definitely. So the weather conditions are this and that, I would say. Sometimes it might be raining. What do you expect from the weather?
Well, it is always, it's a mixed weather for the conditions. I just had a chat with Nürburgring. In the moment in Nürburgring it's heavy rain all day long, and we are on the better side here. So we will have some rain during the races perhaps, but not always. And it will work, yes, we are positive.
Great action we're going to see. There's a lot straight here at the start-finish line. And where do the drivers have got the opportunity to make turnovers?
Well, you mean the long straight here? Yeah, the straight is at the end of the straight you're coming directly into the chicane, so you have the possibility at the end of the straight for overtaking. It is always very close, and maybe they touch each other, but it's a good opportunity to overtake here at the end of the straight in any case, yeah.
Thank you very much, Rolf Werner. Back to your job, to your main job, of course. Thank you very much. And we're going to stay here directly where the action is going to happen. But first of all, we're going to have a look back. What happened at the Nurburgring? Let's have a look.
Round 1 of the 2021 FIA European Truck Racing Championship promised to be a hard-fought affair. A problem for Norbert Kiss, later diagnosed as a faulty boost pipe, would mean that Sascha Lenz would take the race lead.
Yeah, I'm really happy, you know, it's we wait now, I don't know, 8 months for the first race.
Now what do you get after an exciting race 1? An exciting race 2 with the reverse grid. All fired up though, Fast got going once again. And ran down the hill towards turn 2, checking whether anything was wrong with the truck. And he would soon find out that yes, there was. Unfortunately it wouldn't turn in for turn 2, and he went straight on into the barrier.
Luckily, he was saying, oh, I might not say this, but for us it's very good hearing. It was kind of a soft crash, and this is the best news of the day.
Norbert Kiss and Sascha Lenz led us away for round 3 of the 2021 FIA European Truck Racing Championship. nobody could get near Norbert Kiss. A home race and a home victory to start his wonderful Sunday afternoon from pole position.
Yeah, I'm really happy for the team and for the victory. That you know, finally we achieved this you know, stepstone. Let's say it, that we really want to achieve yesterday.
After a fantastic first home win for Norbert Kiss, he needed to try and get the job done in the final race of the weekend. Norbert Kiss was absolutely over the moon, and so were the fans as he took his second win of the day from Steffi Halm, Adam Lachko. Shane Brereton won the Goodyear Cup for the second time today. Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz rounded out a very, very strong top six.
Was möchtest du erzählen? Ja, was fragt ihr mich? Na, ich sag mal so, dass du natürlich total viel Aufwand betreibst, einfach dabei zu sein. Ja. Und so viel Freude mit reinbringst. So, das fände ich halt das Spannende daran. Dass du eigentlich ja von, wie du mir das erzählt hast, von Fan-Dasein
bis schlussendlich zum Team.
Genau.
Und den Aufflieger, hast du den gesehen?
Nee, habe ich nicht gesehen.
Nicht gesehen?
Nee.
Musst du schauen, wir haben nur Aufflieger umgebaut.
Okay.
Steht neben dran und fahren.
Okay, musst du mal gucken. Ich habe noch nicht gesehen. Wie würdest du Auflieger auf Englisch sagen?
Auflieger? Ist das ein Trailer?
Trailer, ne?
To trail, oder?
Ja.
Trailer?
Ja. Sean, I don't have a connection. Maybe. Okay.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Autodrom Most in the Czech Republic, and welcome to the second race meeting of the year for the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'll be guiding you through all of the action this afternoon. And to be honest, it's bound to be another brilliant day of racing, a brilliant weekend of racing. In fact, we have 4 races coming up for you, 2 today, and of course 2 tomorrow as well. But before all of that, we need to get into qualifying. We have the first of the 2 qualifying sessions this weekend coming up very shortly. That will be followed by the Super Pole session as well, where the drivers will basically get a chance to go out and put in their final times if they qualified in the top 10 in the first session. But this is a very, very intriguing circuit to visit. Obviously, it was planned to be the 3rd race weekend of the season, unfortunately, due to the aforementioned flooding disaster in Germany. The 6 races at the Nurburgring had to be cancelled because, of course, there were more serious things going on that needed to be sorted out. But as you heard from Rolf there, the entire truck family, the whole One Truck Family name that the series and, well, the truck family gives itself, all came together and really helped out with all of the firefighters and all of the people that were suffering from any sort of issues that were involved with the flooding. It was a terrible, terrible time, but everybody in the FIA ETRC came together so well to help out, and it was fantastic to see how determined they were to make sure that everyone was okay. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. But back to this fantastic and rather old circuit here at Most. It was built between 1978 and 1983. Officially, there is 21 corners on this circuit, which is a lot more than any sort of Grand Prix circuit that you would see. This circuit hosts the World Superbike Championship, ETRC, and of course Euro NASCAR. But we have Christina back down in the pit lane, ready to have a chat with some wonderful, wonderful people, I believe.
Yes, absolute wonderful people, of course. Current leader with 40 points of the pack is Sascha Lenz, and we've got the supporters here right now. We're going to chat in German, so I might translate. This is Silvia Lenz, the mother. Ich spreche mit dir auf Deutsch und dann übersetze ich, so machen wir es. Natürlich sind die Erwartungen sehr groß. Great expectations, of course, from the leader of the pack right now. Was sind denn eure Erwartungen?
Unsere Erwartungen sind eigentlich gar nicht so hoch gesetzt. Wir werden unser Bestes geben und ich weiß, dass wir gut vorbereitet sind und der Rest wird ganz einfach im Renngeschehen entschieden werden.
She's saying that, well, their expectations are actually not that high. A bit of understatement going around here, but they're really very well prepared, of course. And so, yes, we will see what's going to happen during the races. At the Hungaroring, he was as you might have noticed, Chaz, as well, he was very on a secure way, not trying to collide with someone. Maybe that's his tactic as well. Beim Nurburgring hat eher darauf gesetzt, hier mit anderen in Kollision zu kommen. Sorry, ich kann kein Wort verstehen. Okay, the trucks are starting. We give it a try as well. We can't hear anything. They're going round on the formation lap right now, Chaz. They're coming back soon after the trucks passing by because Sylvia Lenz did not quite understand what I was talking about. That's because of this, of course, because of our social distancing. We're trying to keep, you see Heinrich Hecker passing right now by, René Reinert coming up next. The Team MV commercial. This is the last truck right now, and then we might hear a bit better. But this is the action we're trying to see. Oh, it feels so good, to be honest, to be back here. So let's give it a try as well. Sylvia, die Taktik, die ihr fahren werdet, ihr habt bei dem Rennen beim Nurburgring, habt ihr vermieden, auf Kollision zu gehen. Ist das auch etwas wieder, was ihr dieses Mal auch wieder machen wollt?
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Ich denke, ein Podiumsplatz sollte auf jeden Fall möglich sein. Aber mit Gewalt auf gar keinen Fall, denn zum Schluss werden die Punkte zusammengezogen.
That's really good. She said, yes, we're trying not to collide with anyone else. Our tactic is to sneak in by. And she said, but we are aiming for the podium, of course. And she said, at least, and the last thing of today is that we're going to see how many points, so this is right now, we're going to get. I'm sorry, I was a bit confused. Jane Rona-Biegler is here. She has got a special story for us to tell, because first she was a fan and now she's a team member. How come that? Du warst zuerst Fan und dann bist du eigentlich zum Team dazu gestoßen.
Genau so ist das abgelaufen. Genau.
Erzähl mal ein bisschen, wie kam es dazu?
Ja, eigentlich ist mein Mann schuld. Der hat mich mal zum Truck Racing geschleppt und ich habe gesagt, ja klar, komme mit, kein Problem. Jetzt bin ich fast die Verrücktere von uns beiden, wobei wir sind ja beide im Team Lenz inzwischen. Also hätte man mir vor 10, 12 Jahren gesagt, dass wir mal Teammitglieder sind, hätte ich gesagt, mich juckt's hier. Also ja, so kommt es dann manchmal und macht Spaß und ist unser Leben und ja, die Rennstrecke ist für uns das Ein und Alles inzwischen, ja. Genau.
She said truck racing is our lives, and at first it was her husband going to truck races, and she accompanied him once a day, and she said, well, if you have told me 12 years ago that I would be joining the team here right now at truck racing, I would say maybe and you saw that gesture, I might think that you understood the gesture, that you've been crazy, but she's crazy for truck racing, and as we can see, truck racing is a great and huge, big family. Thank you very much, vielen Dank. Viel Glück für heute. So Chaz, as you can hear, here of course, the trucks are on the road, the family is here, the fans are here. That's really good to see.
Yes, it is indeed. Thank you very much, Christina. And as she pointed out there, very rightly, the trucks are on circuit. Absolutely doing their best already. So the first qualifying session of the weekend very much underway. We had a quick look there at the number 24, which is Stefan Faas in the Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania. He was the one that had that huge accident in race 2 at the Nurburgring, which curtailed the action there and meant that we only got 3 of the 4 planned races that weekend. But back out again, kicking the back end out through the first chicane. As I was mentioning earlier about Autodrom Most, there are 21 corners around this circuit. It's a very twisty one way then the other circuit. Quite an old school racetrack, but wide enough for these fantastic beasts to make their way around. This is turns 6 and 7 that Stefan's coming through now. He's got another little right-hander and then another quick left, turns 8 and 9 into turn 10, which is a hairpin. It's a very flowing track, so any moves that you make here in these races, if you chuck it down the inside of any of your competitors, it will mean that you and them are both compromised in terms of your pace. There is the very quick turn 12, the right kink just before it was turn 11 apparently. Then we've got turn 13 on board now with Stefan Faas. You can see just how large these curbs are, quite a bit of runoff area as well, but bollards to make sure that these drivers aren't taking the mick with track limits. This is the turn 14 kink, the humongous bridge at turn 15. Long right-hander into a long left, 15 and 16. It's basically a circuit that's made up of chicanes. Stefan Faas has a bit of a wobble. You can see that the circuit was quite wet as well. It's not the driest track that we've had this season, let's put it that way. It was raining earlier this morning with a light drizzle. It's dried out since, but it's in no way improved to be a completely solidly dry track. You could see Anthony Janiak just behind Stefan Faas a moment ago in the bright yellow Lion Truck Racing MAN. Here is turn 20, the penultimate corner here, and much like the Hungaroring where we were last time out, you come round this final corner that sort of follows the pit lane all the way around with a lot of curb on the inside and across the line down the very, very long straight that we have here at Autodrom Most. It goes downhill on the most part, then levels out just before the tight chicane at turns 1 and 2. But it's Norbert Kiss that is fastest at the moment with a 2:02.8, just over a tenth of a second ahead of championship leader Sascha Lenz. Sascha has 2 podiums to his name and, of course, won the first round of the season. Third place at the moment is Jochen Hahn. Andre Kurzim in 4th position. We also have another Hahn on the grid this weekend, which is the number 22 truck, Lucas Hahn, which is in the Chrome class. Now, let's not forget about the 2 classes as well. We have Titan and Chrome. Titan is basically drivers that are a previous champion of the ETRC in the last 10 years, or any driver that finished in the top 8 of last year's standings. On top of that, it's any driver that has finished higher than 6th in any Superpole sessions, or any drivers that are categorised as platinum by the FIA. Now, drivers that are in the Chrome category are basically drivers that don't fit the bill for that, essentially, and they're in what's known as the Goodyear's Cup or the Promoters' Cup. It's dedicated to new talent to the series, in addition to regular entrants who can fight for trophies and podium appearances within the competition. So they don't need to be winning races outright. They have their own class, basically. It's almost like Pro-Am, you could say. Here's an onboard view now with Sascha Lenz. I actually had the pleasure of sitting in one of these, a similar racing truck at Thruxton in the UK. About a month and a half ago now, I was commentating on the British Truck Racing Championship, and the cabs in these trucks are very, very small. You'll see these drivers and think, wow, there's a lot of room in there, but honestly, there's not a lot of room at all. And you'll see the Freightliners of the Bagheera racing team, who are having their home races this weekend in the Czech Republic. And because of the nose of those trucks having a smaller cab further back, there really isn't much room at all. But Sascha Lenz, championship leader, looking very comfortable at the moment with all of the gadgets and wires and all sorts around them. There's an insane amount of technology in these trucks. A lot of them, of course, limited to 100 miles an hour for safety reasons and, of course, to keep it fair. He's got Jochen Hahn just in front of Stefan Faas there. And there's the number 17, the Brit, Shane Brereton, in the TOR truck racing machine. But there's your reigning champion just in front of us. Jochen Hahn currently sits 4th in the championship on 27 points. And when you compare that with Sascha Lenz, 40 points, it seems like he's a long way off. He's had 1 podium to his name at least this season. But both pole positions so far have gone the way of Norbert Kiss, taking pole position at both of his home races. They come back into the pits after doing their first flying laps. This is sort of normal protocol for the trucks. They bring them in just to check everything's still working properly, make sure nothing needs doing. They'll give the truck a moment to cool down, and then they'll go and take it out for as fast a lap as possible. And a very bright yellow and fluoro-orange helmet of Stefan Faas. One of his media members taking a picture there. Tyre pressure's being checked on Norbert Kiss's truck. The number 41 machine. A very, very pretty machine, but look at that. You can see the angle that the wheels sit at there. When they really turn them in hard, the wheels, honestly, they look like the suspension has collapsed on the front when they turn the wheels in. But that's just to help them get as much contact as they can. Team members having a chat there with Norbert Kiss. But he'll be happy at the moment knowing that he's on pole position, but there's not much of a margin between the two of them. Sascha Lenz, like I say, within 0.2 of a second. Everybody, actually, after Kiss, Lenz and Hahn, was over 1.6 seconds back. Although Adam Lachko, who is also having his home races here, the Czech driver, goes into 4th place, 0.8 of a second down. But Norbert Kiss gets ready to go back out then. Just over 10 minutes of the session left to go already. But we do have Super Pole as well after this session. So Super Pole will basically be for the drivers within the top 10. And there is Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera Racing Freightliner. You can hear the fantastic noise of the turbochargers in these trucks. It was great to see these things in action for the first time. Admittedly, not the European Series trucks, but to see truck racing in action in person is a real experience. If you do get a chance to go and see any, wherever you are in the world, I do urge you to go and do it. It's just phenomenal to see these trucks being launched around racing circuits all over the world. These things weigh 5,300 kilos at least. That's the minimum weight. And over 3 tons of that needs measuring at the front wheel. I've just had word that Christina is back with somebody in the pit lane.
Waiting out because your time is already there?
Yeah, it's usually, this is how we do it, you know, that in the first time practice we don't do many laps because we could destroy the tires very easily. So we save the tires for the Super Pole.
Thank you very much. He's saving the tires, as you might heard. That's great to hear. Back to you, Chess.
Yes, indeed. Just making sure that the tyres get a chance to cool down. Now, here is an interesting truck to keep an eye on this weekend. The number 86 machine. The Hungaroring was driven by Tom O'Rourke. But now Luke Garrett is behind the wheel this weekend in the number 86 MV commercial truck racing machine. Tom is busy with business, as a lot of these drivers are. A lot of them so connected to their own ventures and their own businesses outside of the racing. So I'm told that this truck will be shared this season. So it's another new name on the grid, which is great to have. We've got 17 trucks on the grid this weekend. I believe we had 15 at the Hungaroring with a planned 16, but Anthony Janiak, unfortunately the French driver, not able to get there. You can see them now winding their way through turns 15 and 16. Then the right-hander, that's a 90-degree right-hander at turn 17, but they carry so much speed through there. And it's a double apex kink, essentially, through 18 and 19. And you can see the times on the left-hand side. Janiak just propping up the top 10 at the moment. Well, he was for just a moment, but no. He actually goes up into 6th position now, 1.2 seconds off. There's the very pretty number 86 machine. Now it'll confuse you because it's got a big number, or it did have a number 20 on the back of it. There was a 20th anniversary wreath painted onto the back of that truck, actually, which really confused me at the Hungaroring. But now they, of course, have the Smart Witness branding on there. Smart Witness powering all of the judges' decisions, or at least the stewards' decisions, if there are any racing incidents and so on. There's a lot of GPS tracking and cameras and all sorts in these trucks. Obviously, with them having a lot more real estate than your normal racing machines that you'll see, they can get a lot more technology in them and on them as such. But look at the way these things pick up. It's incredible. Nearly 1,200 brake horsepower. Absolutely nailing 5 tons out of the corners around here. And we head back down into the pit lane because Christina has found someone else to have a word with.
First round, the Autodrome Most. What was it like?
Yeah, most of the people know it's Most. It's one of my favorite circuits. So from this side, we are very happy in this time of the life to stay here and make races for the visitors.
So you have got a long straight start-finish line. Have you seen the visitors a bit there at the stands, as you might notice?
I don't understand the question.
Have you seen the fans?
Yeah, for sure, you can hear it. So this is why we make this sport, you know, to give emotion to the people. And when the people are there, it's also for us a different kind to make races, you know.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Best resume of the day already at the qualifying. This is why we do this, because of the emotions. Back to you, Chaz.
Fantastic stuff. And that's the thing, you know, the whole one truck family really is sticking up to its name. Everybody, honestly, enjoys this sport so much that is involved with it. There is so much passion here in the paddock with these guys. I absolutely love it. And it's a shame I can't be there in person, admittedly, but you know what? I will be very pleased for the first time that I can go out and visit this series in the flesh, because having seen these trucks or similar trucks racing in other series, I can tell you it'll be amazing to watch. Here's Antonio Albertetti in the number 23 machine, just having a bit of a moment there on the way into the hairpin at turn 10. Looks a little bit hesitant to get it turned in, but the thing is, you're slowing down 5 tons of racing machinery from very high speed very suddenly. It's not easy to get it right each time. He's from the T-Sport Banau team, the Spanish driver, based over here in the UK. I've been following their ventures on social media, and I'll tell you one thing that's incredible about this series is the amount of spare parts. They almost have entire spare cabs to take with them to racing events. It really is a marvel to see it when you see them loading them up into the trucks and all sorts. It's incredible. Back on board with Stefan Fast then as he goes through turns 16 and now 17, and this is the double left kink at 18 and 19. Look at the speed pick up so suddenly. Lets the truck wash out wide to the right hand side, smooths the line out, and we go back to Christina in the pit lane.
Yeah, so we're talking currently on second position, Sascha Lenz. I'm going to translate this. Also, ihr seid gerade auf Position 2. Was erwartest du von der Superbowl?
Ja, ich versuche mein Bestmögliches und hoffe natürlich, dass wir in die erste Reihe kommen. Und eine Enttäuschung ist es nicht, wenn wir auch in der zweiten Reihe stehen, aber trotzdem versuche ich mein Bestes und hoffe, dass wir in die erste Reihe kommen.
So he's trying his very best, trying to achieve first row, of course, but he said if we might end up second, it would not be the worst case scenario. But he seems very confident in his truck.
Yeah, like you said earlier, Christina, you know, he's sort of taking a bit of a reserved approach to this. He's not pushing too hard and taking any risks, really, as Sascha Lenz. He knows exactly what he needs to do to be up there in the championship and to do well. And, of course, with 2 podiums, one of them being a win so far, he is doing everything right so far. 10 points clear of Norbert Kiss in the championship. As we see here, the number 22 machine of Lucas Hahn being driven through turn 10 on the exit. It really does still baffle me. The way these things accelerate is phenomenal to watch. But another one of the Team Hahn racing machines back out there this weekend. It's great to have, really great to have Lucas back with us in the championship. He got a podium in the Goodyear Cup last season, so he's got the potential to do very well indeed. Of course, pedigree with Jochen Hahn, multiple champion in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. You see the conditions, not exactly hot. It's not really heating up too much, to be honest with you. But the aforementioned Jochen Hahn is a 6-time European Truck Racing champion. He's looking to win his 7th title, do the maths, Chaz, this year. Great view of all the industrial estates and all sorts over there in the Czech Republic behind the circuit. Lucas Hahn goes for the line. He's currently 14th in the standings, and he does not improve his time, unfortunately. He was only 1/10 of a second off his best as well there. His best is a 2 minutes 4.8. He just did a 2 minutes 4.9. He currently stays 14th. Jamie Anderson has gone up into 11th position in the 33 machine. That puts him 3rd fastest in the Chrome category. Shane Brereton fastest in that at the moment from Teo Calve. Don't forget, as I said, it's almost like Pro and Am, those 2 categories. And in the Goodyear Cup, it is Shane Brereton that leads it with 40 points from Teo Calve on 36 and then Stefan Fast on 35. So that's very close indeed, and one to keep an eye on this weekend. But there goes Lucas Hahn once again. He's ahead of Alia Koloc and Hans Clemens Hecker. Sorry, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, I believe. who was celebrating his birthday not too long ago. The FIA ETRC did a wonderful post on their social media for him. They really do appreciate all the drivers and teams as well. In just the short time I've been with the series and everybody involved, you really just get the idea that everyone knows everyone, and it's great. Really is great to see. As our cameras try and find somebody to pick up on, they do get quite spread out around this circuit, which helps them during qualifying. Means that they can get a lot of clean air. The pit exit is now closed, so nobody will be going back out on circuit to qualify. And the checkered flag is out, that'll be why. I thought there was at least another minute left. It certainly, time flies when you're having fun. But it looks to me like that is the end of the session for Lucas Hahn. He's not going to be doing a quicker lap. There's Andre Kurzim, currently 8th at the moment. Janiak has now jumped up to 4th place, so he's really gone well in the end of the session. Andre Kurzim was properly in the wars back at the Hungaroring. And there is the incredibly neon yellow machine of Anthony Janiak, the Lion Truck Racing machine. Fantastic stuff to see. And we have Steffi Halm in the pit lane now with Christina.
And yet, you said it. She's ranked 5th right now. Hello, good to see you again. In front of Adam Latsko after the qualifying, ahead of the Super Pole. He's the local hero. And I know we've seen lots of fighting between you at the Hungaroring. What do you expect from the Super Pole right now? Which time do you want to achieve?
Yeah, the first part of the qualifying was a little bit difficult because I have to take 2 laps. Antonio went in the first chicane a little bit straight and then he stuck in front of me. So I need 2 laps, and you know, in the first part of the qualifying, the goal is just to get into the Super Pole. So for sure, I'm 100% sure that all the guys, especially Adam, didn't push too hard because the goal was just to get into the Super Pole. So I think we will get a different time from him in the quali which we have now. And yeah, I'm on 5th at the moment, and I hope I can stay in that area after the Super Pole.
Thank you very much. Good luck. Back to you, Chaz.
Okay, so then we have our top 10 formed up. We'll be giving it a few minutes and then the trucks will go back out for the aforementioned Super Pole session that Steffi Halm was mentioning there. So, as you saw, Norbert Kiss, the likes of Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, and Steffi Halm, of course, who we saw, and Adam Latchko, they all put in their fast laps. They knew it was probably enough to get into the top 10 by the end of the first qualifying session, meaning that they will go through to Super Pole. So, the top 10 is as follows. Norbert Kiss goes fastest by just over 1/10 of a second from Sascha Lenz. Jochen Hahn is 3rd, just under 2/10 off Kiss's time. Then Anthony Janiak doing a great job up into 4th after originally being in 10th. Steffi Halm ended up in 5th place ahead of Adam Latchko. Antonio Alberthetti finishes in 7th. Andre Kurzim is 8th. And then Teo Calve, the only Chrome driver to get through from that session, was in 9th place. The timing is just refreshed, so I'm afraid I've just lost who was in 10th position. But we will see when they come back out on circuit in a few minutes. But as mentioned before, the fans are all out here. They are not deterred by the rain. That's a very, very big umbrella you've got there, sir. Might be more of a parasol, to be honest. But fantastic to see all the fans out here enjoying the racing once again. And as you heard Rolf Werner mention earlier, it's going back to the times before COVID. You know, we all have been saying for so long we can't wait for things to go back to normal as such, and we really can't. You know, it's definitely been a very, very different world in just 2021. There's been huge steps forward, of course, in vaccination and all sorts. We're not going to get into it too much, but things are certainly moving in the right direction, and it's great to see that the ETRC is embodying that as well, and everybody is trying to move forward together. But fans in the paddock is one of the main things that we have this weekend. Before now, fans have always been sort of kept separate from the paddock just to make sure there's no sort of cross-contamination or anything like that. But with the amount of people around the world now that are getting all of the right tests and vaccinations and things they need, it means that it's a much safer place to be. There's Jochen Hahn making his way down the pit lane behind Norbert Kiss. Well, behind Sascha Lenz now, apparently, as well, as he comes down to line up behind Norbert. I think they will go down there in order of how they basically finished in the first qualifying session. great to get this onboard view from Sascha Lenz. You can see right hand on the gear stick there, ready to get things underway. Now, the drivers have so much more visibility in these trucks, of course, than you would get in your normal sort of racing cars, which are kept as low down as possible. The cabs being so high in these things, they can see a lot more around them, so you get a lot more spatial awareness. There's a hell of a lot of close racing going on in this championship, and I mean, if you want examples of close racing, you need to go back and watch the battle that Christina mentioned there with Steffi Halm, where she was racing Adam Lachko at the end of their race at the Hungaroring. I think it was the end of race 4. It was absolutely incredible fun to watch. Really incredible fun. They were giving as good as they got, knocking 7 shades out of one another, but in the best of ways. And they both came out of it smiling, loving the racing, and being grateful to be there. But the rain is now coming down quite severely as well, actually, just in time for Superpole. So while I was saying that the track is drying out, that is now a distant memory very suddenly, as we have wet conditions here in the northwest of the Czech Republic. And we hope you are having a good Saturday morning so far and continue to stick with us this weekend. As mentioned, we have this qualifying session and Superpole. And then later on in the day, we will have race 1. And then, of course, race 2. We should be with you, as I check on here, about 3 o'clock local time. So about 5 to 2 in the UK for race 1. And look at the speed that these things are still going in the torrential rain. I think Norbert Kiss knows that he needs to get out there as soon as possible and set a lap before the circuit gets any wetter. The race 2 broadcast, by the way, will be with you about 4:15 UK time, 5:15 local time in the Czech Republic. But you can see just how shiny the surface is getting already. Now, the steam that you see coming off the front wheels as well when these trucks really slow down and get hard on the brakes is actually water being sprayed on the brakes to cool them down. The drivers have control over cooling their own brakes while on the move. So not only are they actually steering the truck, hitting the brakes, and of course making sure that they change down to the right gears, they have to control the water being sprayed on the brakes as well. It's an incredible art form driving these trucks, but different levels of standing water on different parts of the circuit right now is one of the main things to point out. Let's just hope none of them get caught out by it, as this is their first lap back out there in these changeable conditions. You can see the sky on the left-hand side there very much says rain, and the sky on the right says maybe not rain. But they're all filtering through turns 15 and 16 at the iconic bridge here at Most. And look, it almost still looks dry at this part of the circuit. This is the last couple of corners, turns 20 and 21. And Norbert Kiss looks like he could just get his foot down and drive it as if it was a normal dry circuit. So it turns 10 to 15. And Christina has a weather update for us, I think.
Yes, indeed, I do have the weather update. As you can see here, it's not raining at all. This is very strange, because I heard you saying raining coming down a lot, but I don't need my rain jacket right now, but maybe some sunscreen.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. It's one of those circuits. It's quite a narrow, sort of long circuit. I mean, you can see now Norbert Kiss kicking up a load of spray as he goes down towards turns 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then all of a sudden, when they get back on, it's like they're in a different country with the weather they've got right now. You can see a dry line sort of being pushed apart by the humongous tyres on these trucks. But yeah, it's a completely different weather dynamic altogether here. It's almost like the Nurburgring. They say that the Nurburgring has its own climate, but Sascha Lenz with, well, hopefully a good view through the lens right now, with all of the rain being smacked off the windscreen by the windscreen wiper. You can see him going up the gears out of the corners, doing a lot of this with just one hand on the wheel as well. These trucks have a lot of very powerful power steering. He's still got one hand on the wheel through there, making sure that he's in the right gear, of course. Oh, I think he's radioing in. Oh, he's gone off, actually. He's off the circuit, coming back on. That was a bit of a correct time to go and sit on board there with Sasha Lenz. I think he's just saying, yeah, I've done it, boys. I've made a bit of a mess, sorry. And they have red flagged it. They have red flagged the session. Unsurprising as well. You wouldn't want it to catch anybody out and cause an incident. Maybe Sasha not the only driver there to radio in and say, yeah, we can't race in these conditions, guys. This is raining too much. But look at that there. They're not bothered. It's not raining at all where they are. Incredible. But again, as I mentioned, it's a very long, thin circuit geographically. So if it rains at one end of the circuit, it can very well be dry at the other side with no rain whatsoever. You can hear Sasha's team there communicating with him. And we've had trucks spinning at turn 13, which is apparently why we've got the red flag. Turn 13, the right-hand kink just after you get out of the section where it has been raining a lot. So unfortunately, we have had some drivers go off. But that Marshall doesn't need a rain jacket either. Incredible. So unfortunately, the first Super Pole session of the weekend then is curtailed short. Whether they will restart it, we will soon see. But the lap time's very much slower, of course, than they were in the first qualifying session. We had 2-minute 4s, sort of outside of the top 10, even shorter than that. But the fastest time set there was Norbert Kiss with a 2:16. So a big, big change, of course, due to the weather. And I've been given some information. Thank you to Barbara, who sends me a hell of a lot of information behind the scenes here on the trucks and updates from the paddock and so on. She said that the Norbert Kiss truck, the number 41 machine, has changed the front end of the truck, which basically features more and bigger air intake holes. But you can see that the truck is sort of more aggressive aerodynamically at the front. And Christina is back in the pit lane. Is it raining there yet?
Yeah, it's not really raining, but we do see the trucks coming in here in different weather conditions. Of course, look at the tire here. You may see this. One tire not looking quite in good shape of this truck. To be honest, I'd like to change. And let's save our cameraman and let's save our lives here. I need to step back. I hope you can hear me still. Yes, you do. So we're directly here on the grid, but of course we do not want to disturb all the teams right now. They're a bit in a mood because they are not quite sure what happened as well. Because as you can see here, it is not raining. There's of course safety first, and this is quite good to see and to hear that all people from the ITRA as well are really concerned about the safety here. And as you can see, it is better to give a red flag.
Yeah, for sure, that's it. You know, you don't want these things going off. We saw just what happens when one of these trucks goes off and goes into a barrier at the Hungaroring as well, and it can curtail a lot more of the weekend's racing. It's not just the fact that, you know, it'll cause a 5-minute delay or have sort of a tow truck getting a sort of like you would in normal racing, a tow truck getting a car out of a gravel trap. You know, it's a very different operation altogether when it's one of these trucks that goes off. There was damage, though, like you say, to the back of Anthony Janiek's truck there. The right rear looking like he clipped something. There are marshals out on the track, as we see here. They're in torrential rain, trying to clear anything they can off the circuit, debris-wise, any gravel. Now that looks like where we saw Sasha Lenz going off through the left-hander. You can see some sort of tracks and imprints in the grass. And the marshals are going to try and clear the water away. There's a lot of standing water there. And that is the damage to Janiek's truck. Look at that, it's shredded the wheel even. That's why it's destroyed the tyre as well. That'll be cutting into the rubber. He's definitely hit something there. Maybe even just bounced across the grass. Even if he spun off, these trucks have such soft suspension. You'll see them leaning in and out of corners. Even if he does have a big bounce on the grass, it could even just pop the wheel up into the bodywork, and then of course it's deformed the wheel. But I'd imagine he's hit something a bit more substantial there. And there are some of our we're very grateful to have the marshals. At the end of the day, we can't go racing without them. But you can see there the sunshine in the background, but then torrential rain here at the circuit as they all try as hard as they can to clear water away into the grass to at least try and drain it away. But through there, it's not really where you want where you want to have these sorts of conditions. That is the kink at turn 12 up to turn 13. That is the right-hander where reportedly some of them have gone off. And that is just after where the heaviest of the rain was at turn 10. Our camera that we're looking at, well, looking from here, is based at the inside of turn 10. And you can see the scale of the circuit. I mean, when you see the trucks out there, it looks like the track's very small, but you can see this is a very wide circuit indeed, as one of the circuit vehicles there just making their way on just to try and check what the surface is like. But an unfortunate delay for the session here, but as Christina alluded to, safety first. But it's great to be at this circuit. It's a circuit I've never... Well, I say to be at the circuit. I'm not there in person. I'm commentating remotely. But this is the first time I've commentated on action at this circuit. And it certainly does look like a real challenge indeed. Turns 1 and 2 used to be a lot more open and still a chicane, but a much shallower one. Now it's built to sort of slow vehicles down. It's a 90-degree right and then a good sort of 110-degree left-hander at turn 2. But it is one of those circuits that's a bit of an old school track that really flows from one corner to the next. And as I alluded to earlier, if you try and make a move down the inside of somebody, you could compromise not just them, but yourself as well. So if we do have any big battles going on through the field over the course of this weekend when we get racing, you will see that a lot of them tend to try and work together to move forward. Here's more damage. That is the front left of, is that Antonio Alberthetti's truck, or is that even one of the Hahn machines? They're going to use, it's one of the Hahn machines, I've been told. That's one of man's best friends there, the zip tie. If you've not fixed it with zip ties or duct tape, you've not used enough zip ties or duct tape. But it just shows you not how flimsy the bodywork is on these trucks, but it's fiberglass mainly, so it's very, very light and very, very easy to sort of bend it into shape and do what you need to do with it. So that they're just puncturing holes in it just to put zip ties through to make sure that they can hold it in place again. It seems like very basic engineering, but honestly, it's the best way to do it, if you ask me. And it shows you, again, how strong fiberglass is if you can't hammer your way through it with a screwdriver. But it's the little details like this in motorsport that you don't often get to see. You know, you see these trucks when they're racing around and you see machinery of the highest level, and you don't often realise how many scuffs and scrapes and dents they have on them like this. But this is honestly part of normality in motorsport. Sometimes you have to fix it with some of the simplest solutions. And at the end of the day, if that body panel stays on, it stays on. But just don't get fiberglass in your fingers, because it is not nice. But the team's working furiously now, as you can see, to make sure that they can get that truck back out there. And water and dust and all sorts still being cleared away. Just to make sure that even if the drivers do run wide on a drying circuit, there's not too many marbles and loose surfaces out there for them to get caught out by. You can see there's still a lot of gravel there kicked up on the outside of turn 12. And again, that's a different thing for truck racing compared to a lot of other racing, is that these things are so big, they do kick up a lot more dust and gravel and all sorts onto the circuit when they do go off. Now that's one of the sort of intakes, or what the drivers use for aerodynamics, and of course for getting air into the front of the trucks there. In the bottom right, always looks like a socket where a headlight should be. But they use that to get air towards the front tyres, and of course to any sort of internal aerodynamics that these trucks have at the front. They also have these incredible rails inside the trucks which spray water onto the intercoolers to cool them down. As we see our marshals still brushing away furiously and trying to clear any water that they can. There were a few vehicles helping them out as well a minute or so ago. And apparently there was contact out there actually between Jochen Hahn and Anthony Janiek. So that's what Janiek was hit by, and that is of course why the damage is on the front left of Jochen Hahn's truck and the right rear of Anthony Janiek. So that makes sense. And Janiek has actually gone to the paddock from the pit lane to get repairs done. So he's not going to be going back out if the session starts immediately, unfortunately for him. As we see, there you go. I told you, zip ties, duct tape. If it doesn't fix it, you've not used enough. Unfortunately, covering up one of the sponsor stickers, but I think one of the main things is that the truck goes back out there right now. Whether it looks pretty or not is not the priority. But as you can see, fiberglass, while it does bend and move, it does crack. So you do need to be able to make sure you cover those cracks so it doesn't split under any of the load or any of the air flowing over it when the truck goes around. Again, hats off to the marshals because they're staying out there in the horrible conditions to make sure the rain is cleared away. Although it does look like it is stopped raining quite quickly. Christina, have you still not got any rain down there yet?
No, still not any rain, but a lot of duct tape, as you can see. And you see that truck racing is a family business, of course. If you see in the back, Lucas Hahn there, the son, of course, of Jochen Hahn. And they were watching our live stream on YouTube, as you, the fans at home, to get a bit of a knowing what happened. And they're ready to go. And maybe we can talk to Lucas Hahn. Lucas! German? Auf Deutsch. Du hast gerade mal schön im Livestream nachgeschaut, oder? Ja, bei uns auf YouTube. Was hast du gesehen? Yes, he watched our Livestream. What have you seen?
Also ich habe gesehen, dass die Strecke relativ trocken war. Wo ich draußen war, war die Strecke komplett trocken. Und auf einmal kam ein Regenschauer hinten in der Spitzkehre. Und das ist natürlich sehr gefährlich, wenn man kommt. Alles ist trocken, man stellt sich auf trocken ein und auf einmal ist alles nass. Da ist alle Achtung. Das kann echt schlimm ausgehen, aber ja, weitestgehend ist ja jetzt niemand was passiert oder so, aber das ist schon eine Sache für sich.
He's describing the dangerous situations for the drivers. He himself experienced it. Dry soil, and then you turn around, and in the next corner it is raining a lot and lots of moisture there on the track, and this is dangerous for the drivers. And he said luckily it happened worse. So what do you expect for the rest of the day? Was erwartet ihr denn heute von dem Rest des Tages dann unter diesen Bedingungen?
Wir sind alle sehr gespannt, ob das Wetter hält, ob es trocken bleibt. Wenn es trocken bleibt, wäre es optimal. Es wäre super für uns. Und jetzt schauen wir einfach, wie der Wetterverlauf ist. Und wenn es gut bleibt, dann haben wir alle gute Karten und hoffen, dass wir maximale Erfolge einfahren.
He's just keeping fingers crossed for good weather conditions today, and so he's hoping that we can continue this racing event as safe as possible, of course. So this is truck racing as well. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Jochen Hahn and Lucas Hahn, the family members. And we see there, I think the duct tape right now is stuck and everything is fine, and they might be closing the door again, and he's ready to race again, and that would be good news.
Yes, indeed. Fantastic to get that truck fixed in such quick time. As you saw for a moment there, we will be going back out on circuit at 12:15 local time. So great that the rain has subsided so quickly. And fingers crossed we can get a smooth sailing session back on track. At least, hopefully not sailing anyway, because it looked to me like they would have needed water skis or sails to get through the conditions that we had a few minutes ago. You can see the rain light blinking away there on the back of Adam Lachko's Bagheera Racing Freightliner. Adam Lachko, of course, having his home race here this weekend. So too is the team. 3 trucks in that team, of course. We have Adam Lachko, we have Teo Calve, and of course we have Elia Kolok. She's also a Czech driver as well, actually, so it's also her home race weekend. Only Teo Calve, not a sort of home driver in that team, being French. But Teo was very exciting at the Hungaroring a few weeks ago. Well, I'll say a few weeks ago. It feels like forever ago now, to be honest with you. It was a real shame we couldn't go racing at the Nurburgring, but as I've already spoken about, there were more important things afoot. when that weekend was going on. So outbraking manoeuvres, let's talk about those. They're going to be the order of the day when it comes to the racing, because as Christina and Rolf briefly mentioned earlier on in the day, it's a long downhill straight here at Most. You can build up a lot of speed, and as long as you can get the truck stopped in time for the very tight chicane at turns 1 and 2, you should be able to outbrake your opponents and go down the inside. But it all depends on who defends what line, because as a lot of you will have seen as motorsport fans before, when you're going into a chicane, sometimes it's best to be on the outside on the way in, because when the track changes direction and you go the other way, it puts you on the inside. So if you do see people going for the outside at turn 1, it would be a wise move, because you suddenly go left again at turn 2, and then it's a long left-hander after you get through turn 3, all the way around turn 4. As we see Jochen Hahn there. Quite a plain helmet design, actually, compared to a lot of drivers that you see these days. Having watched a lot of karting and met a lot of drivers, you always see these very complicated helmet designs that, if I'm honest, are hard to tell apart these days. Long gone are the sort of mid-90s, even sort of late 80s days of having drivers where they just have a sort of solid colour helmet with maybe one stripe or one slight bit of a design on it, where you could easily tell who was who from a distance. But Jochen Hahn with the simple white and blue, part of it white, part of it blue, put your name on it. There you go, that'll do. Some drivers don't need the flamboyance, it seems, but Jochen is flamboyant in his own way. Of course, a 6-time champion, fantastic driver, an absolute marvel to watch. And great to see him in the pack as well. That's the thing. It's not like he's always running away with it and disappearing up the road. You know, he's in amongst the pack, fighting for points, making sure that he has those consistent scores. Look at the scenery here at Most, the humongous hills in the background with forests just blanketed over them. It's great to have. And even the sun coming out as well. But there is the chicane as well. The secondary bridge on the left-hand side that you can see there is the 90-degree right and then the very tight left at the first couple of corners. And it shows you as well how quickly you come out of the pit lane and then suddenly get greeted with the inside line at that first corner. Now, you can see the honeycomb sort of cut out holes on the front of Norbert Kiss's truck there. We'll get another look at it in a moment, but you'll see that they are the improved sort of air holes on the front of the truck, hoping to help aerodynamics and, of course, cooling as well. I'm intrigued to see how that does for the rest of the season. There is Adam Lachko in the beautiful number 55 Freightliner, the Bergera racing machine. All the different drivers have their different coloured highlights in that team. All of the neon yellow parts you see there on Adam Lachko's truck are blue on Teo Calve's and orange on Alia Koloc's truck. A nice way, other than the numbers, for them to be identifiable by us as commentators. Steffi Halm just in front of Adam Lachko. There is Sasha Lenz, championship leader. Finished second in the earlier qualifying session. I think Sasha will be further towards the front of the queue as they try and organise everybody here. And there is Teo Calve, the young Frenchman. You can just see René Reiner in the background as well. Truck 77 has his name on the windscreen, which makes life a lot easier for me. You can just hear turbos whistling away as the trucks wait in the pit lane for things to get going. There is Teo, preparing to get his session underway once again. For the few laps that were put in last time round, he was 9th, unfortunately, but he is the only chrome driver in the field, which is basically the AM category. I say in the field, he's the only one in this session, as Adam Lachko seems to be just rolling backwards down the pit lane, which is intriguing to say the least, because it's a downhill section, so he's clearly got it in reverse. Although I'm told that the trucks must be fitted with an audible warning that sounds when the reverse gear is engaged, as it says in the regulations. So whether there is a slight sort of backwards downhill drop there, I'm not sure. Session gets back underway then. The timer has not been reset. That's one of the important things here. They only have 6 minutes to get this in, and it's about 2 minutes for a lap as well. So they will not have a lot of time to get their laps in right now. So you'll see these drivers giving it everything and trying to find a bit of clear space and making sure that they have room around them to do what they need to do. Sascha Lenz is going to go for pole position, of course, as they all are. Look at all of the buttons and switches and things he's pressing. Still a lot of standing water down there on the way through turns 6 and 7. And then 8 and 9. A very windy section of the circuit where drivers have to have their wits about them. Sascha Lenz kicks the back end out straight on into the gravel. That shows you how wet it is. Is he able to keep going even with the massive torque that these trucks have? Yes, he is. These trucks have some 5,000 Newton meters of torque, but even that wasn't enough for Sascha there. Kicks the back end out massively. Great save. But wow, that was a sketchy moment for him. And that's how careful they're going to have to be. But then again, you've got 1,200 brake horsepower under your right foot. So who can blame you for absolutely planting it? He's going to run slightly wide, obviously using what's known as a wet line. Here's another look at it. So he just boots it out of the right-hander. Maybe a bit of standing water, maybe a bit of water kicked up from the curb or something. He did clip the curb with the right front at least. And that just affected the rotation of the truck. He's still kicking the back end out. But look at it. It's like they're in a completely different country, like I said before. It's just so different. That's down through turns 15 and 16. That's only about 3 corners later from where we left him. And then all of a sudden, it's almost dry again. So there goes Norbert Kiss through shot. Followed by, I believe, Jochen Hahn. Then Antonio Albertetti. Then it's Steffi Halm. Adam Lachko. Andrea Kurzim. We wait, there is Sascha Lenz going through. And then number 20, Teo Calve. So we will not see Anthony Janiak back out on track in this session. He's into the paddock getting the truck repaired, so he will start. Subject to all of the drivers in this session putting in a clean time, he should start about 10th. Just over 3 minutes to go then. Everybody piling down the straight into that first chicane. And then back out into the rain. Or at least the standing water as Antonio Albertetti's gone straight on. Clips the grass, goes over the curb. He's overdone it and he's going to go off again if he's not careful. Jochen Hahn in front of him doing a great job at staying on the circuit at least. Look at that there, using the wet line around the outside, not going to the apex on the inside of the corner as you normally would. Wet lines are very different in motorsport. It's all about carrying the speed around the outside of a corner and not shortening the line too much and risking over-rotating your vehicle. Jochen then powers back up the hill. He's going to have a smooth left kink now at turn 14. You can see a bit of damage on the right front of that truck, a bit of bodywork hanging away slightly. Now, of course, aerodynamics not the most important things on these trucks, so they don't have to worry about any sort of aero damage at all. It's more just about making sure that the air gets to the right points and still cools anything in the engine bay. The speed they carry there, though, through the kink at turns 18 and 19 is phenomenal. And that is turn 18 there with Lachko, then Halm, then Kurzim going through. We should get times on the board any second now. Norbert Kiss is going to put his time on the board. And he does a 2 minutes 11.3. Jochen Hahn goes for the line. What can he do? 2 minutes 13.0. So he's 1.6 seconds off. Albertetti 2.5 seconds off in third place. Who's next through? Adam Lachko goes second fastest at 2 minutes 12.2, 0.8 of a second off Norbert Kiss. Steffi Halm's had a bad lap. She's 8.2 seconds down. Kurzim goes up into 5th place. Albertetti now goes up into 7th. He's 2.5 seconds off, so quite the spread. Sascha Lenz has gone second fastest with a 2.11.8. So Norbert Kiss doing the job again, but now some of them will be on their final fast lap. Says a Jochen Hahn's overdone it. He's hit the bollard. Oh, Anthony Janiak is back out on track. Wow, they've done a great job to get that truck repaired in such a quick time. And with 45 seconds left of the session, he crossed the line, so he will be able to get another lap in at least. Jochen Hahn pushing hard now. Needs to make up that lost time through that right-hander, but I don't think it's as simple as that. It's easier for me to say. And Janiak's actually gone 4th fastest now, 1.5 seconds off. The speed that they're doing there from turn 14 down into 15 through the right-hander, running a little bit wide though was Jochen Hahn. As our camera spins all the way around to try and find somebody. Nearly fell off my chair. Back with Sascha Lenz then. Can he improve? It looks like he's a couple of tenths down on Norbert Kiss on this lap. Through sectors 1 and 2. The amount of lock that he's using there. Still just with one hand. It's incredible that they use one hand for so much of the lap. And the session has now ticked down to 0. Norbert Kiss goes for the line. It's a 2:11.3 as his best. What does he do this time? It's a 2:09.6. Wow, brilliant lap by Norbert Kiss. That puts him 2.1 seconds clear. What can Jochen Hahn do? Hahn goes second, 1.5 seconds slower. Albersetti goes through 2 seconds slower. So it's Kiss from Hahn from Albersetti. Where is Sascha Lenz in all of this? He's 2.1 seconds down, 4th place at the moment. Improved lap from Steffi Halm puts her 6th. Andre Kurzim goes 7th. Sascha Lenz can only manage 3rd, 1.7 seconds off, so it's Kiss and Hahn on the front row. Lenz and Albersetti 3rd and 4th. Then Steffi Halm just missing out on beating Adam Lachko. And it's Kurzim. Janiak is 8th, but I think he might still get a time on the board yet. René Reiner has gone up to 9th place. And Theo Calve is 10th, nearly 4 seconds off. And Janiak goes 5th. Janiak beats Lachko, Halm and Kurzim. Goes up to 5th place. So that truck with big damage on the right rear after the session got red flagged earlier comes back out and puts in a brilliant, brilliant time. 2:11.7. He's only 8 thousandths of a second off Antonio Albersetti as well. But that is your pole sitter confirmed. Norbert Kiss takes his 3rd pole of the season. He's been fastest in every Super Pole session we've had this season so far. Fantastic dominance from the Reveche Racing team machine. He'll be over the moon with that. He called his first win at the Hungaroring a stepping stone. And I tell you what, if that was a stepping stone, I wouldn't like to ask him what 3 Super Pole sessions in a row is. Great stuff. Really great stuff. Jochen Hahn, though, returns to the front row. He wasn't on the front row at the Hungaroring. It was always Kiss and Lenz. But now Hahn beating them to it. Lenz ends up 3rd, ahead of Albersetti. Then Janiak is 5th with Adam Lachko in 6th. So the hometown hero will have to do a lot from the 3rd row later on today if he wants to get a win in the books. Now the stream for the first race of the day will go live at 5 to 3 local time. That's 5 to 2 in the UK. So the drivers and teams have quite a while until then to get things fixed and get things sorted out. But incredible already, the local conditions showing us how quickly they can change one way and then the other. The sun back out now at the final corners here, drying the circuit out nice and quickly. Of course, that'll help these support races as well between the trucks racing. But I believe Christina will be very excited to see them come back into the paddock and hopefully be with us very, very soon. You can see the bollards being moved away from the curbs there. That just shows you how big those bollards are, though. See the marshal at the bottom of the shot? Just showing you how massive those bollards are. Nearly 6 feet. But compared to the massive trucks that we have going around here, they look like normal-sized bollards. And as mentioned, Christina is there in the paddock, ready to give us a little roundup of what's gone on.
Yes, we're driving around with a golf cart and we're trying to get a glimpse right now here of the paddock and all the team members going by feet. And we are actually on our way right now. We want to talk to Janiek, to be honest, because I think this is very interesting to get to know what happened exactly with his truck. We see now here Team Reves joining us on the ride, some on scooters. This is Paddock Live, as you can see. So we keep you informed as soon as we got someone to talk.
Yeah, that's it. Paddock Life indeed. If you've ever been in a motorsport paddock, you know how easy it is to nearly get run over by buggies and scooters and all sorts. It's certainly a place that keeps you on your toes. But there is the result. Norbert Kiss takes pole position by 1.5 seconds from 6-time champion Jochen Hahn. If you're driving an MAN, though, it looks like you're going to have a good day. Sascha Lenz is third, 1.7 seconds off. And then look at that. Antonio Albacete and Anthony Janiek just separated by 0.08 of a second. Adam Lachko is sixth, ahead of Steffi Helm, Andrei Kurzim, René Reinert, and Theo Calve rounds out your top 10 in that Super Pole session. Very, very close indeed, though, especially between the first couple. But Norbert Kiss, in fairness, in contradiction to what I've just said, Norbert Kiss very, very strong up at the top, looking almost untouchable at the moment. As we see the trucks making their way back into the paddock now, a bit of a traffic jam for them, the natural habitat here in the UK for a truck. That is Sascha Lenz. 10 points are the difference between him and Norbert Kiss in the championship. Adam Lachko sits second between them. He's on 32 points. Norbert Kiss on 30. Sascha Lenz on 40. So it's Sascha's to lose at the moment. But that is the very bright neon yellow number 66 of Anthony Janiek. It's hard to miss, to be honest.
Chaz, this is Christina. Just to give you a quick information, we are on board, but this is a kind of a different on board, as you might have noticed. This is the golf cart on board, and we are driving in front of Janiek. This is this special view you get from us today. This is the paddock, and you can see the fans alongside. Great to have all of them back, lots of emotions, and everyone is taking out their smartphones to catch the glimpse of the trucks. And behind us, there's Janiek driving, and the truck from here, this perspective, seems in a condition that is all right. But as you said, there's some stripes. They fixed the door with that. So thanks to our driver, Andreas Ahn, who is a very good driver, I must say. So this is
I was wondering if it was Andreas driving, actually, because he messaged me earlier.
Yes, he is, absolutely, because I am busy enough talking to you, to be honest. So, as you can see, all the trucks finding their positions. Beautiful shots right here, aren't they, Chaz?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And one of the best things about being in a paddock, especially when it's just rained as well, is the smell. It sounds really daft, and some people probably think I'm very strange, but honestly, the smell of a paddock when you're involved in motorsport, just there's not a lot that beats it. You get the smell of all the fuels, you get burning rubber as well. And to be honest, there's a certain smell called petrichor when a circuit and concrete has been dry for a while and then had rain on it as well. If you combine that all with motorsport, it's just a wonderful thing. I get overly excited about it sometimes, but if I'm honest with you, nothing beats being involved in a paddock. You can see the different scale of the awnings that they have here to keep these trucks out of the rain and keep them all under enough shelter. It's a lot bigger than you get for your normal sort of gazebos and things for other forms of motorsport, but everything is bigger and better in truck racing. It's just fantastic. But I believe Christina will have a word with Janiek when we get chance in a moment, because as we saw before, there was a lot of damage on that right rear of that truck. Jochen Hahn, of course, making contact with him during qualifying. Could have been anything, really. Could have just been a misunderstanding. Maybe he thought that Janiek was staying out of the way. Maybe Janiek didn't see him and moved across. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it often does, doesn't it? But There you can see the scale of the paddock. You can see all the fans in the grandstand behind as well. Shows you the great numbers, the fantastic turnout that we have this weekend. And as a sort of motorsport community, we are so pleased to have the fans back. And I was at a motorsport event a few weeks ago, actually, as a spectator rather than as a commentator. And it was just nice to be on what we call the civvy side of things, to just be there, buy my own ticket and just enjoying it as it is without having to work. It's incredible. As on board with Stefan Fast, you can see now the truck hidden away, or it feels hidden away from where we are right now. In their awning, the truck will be getting worked on and everything prepared for the 2 races that we have later on today. There's Jamie Anderson just opposite in the number 33 machine. Didn't see much of Jamie in qualifying. I think he qualified quite far, not too far outside the top 10 actually. He qualified in 12th position. So he'll be hoping to have a very strong performance in the first one to at least hope to get a good reverse grid position in race 2, because let's not forget that these drivers, once they've had their first race, for the second race, the grid gets partially reversed. There is the remaining damage on Anthony Janiek's truck. There's a piece of the wheel there seems to have been punctured by something. That's incredible. Not sure what could have gone through there, but the team not looking too impressed at the moment. Hopefully they can get any problems that causes sorted out for later. And there you can see again now the weather is very quickly changed again. Christina still staying out of the rain though, and is back down in the paddock.
Luckily not raining in this part of the track. It's so weird. One part it's dry soil, and the other part it is raining. And what happened to you in the truck, Anthony Janiek?
Today I'm very happy. The first lap in Superpole, 7 corner with Jochen full aquaplaning and a big crash. My team full speed for the paddock and change the wheel. 3-4 minutes maximum. It's very happy. I'm very happy.
You seem a bit exhausted. I know your voice is not that good in this weekend, so tough conditions for you. No, not sorry. Thank you very much that you speak to us, really, to be honest. Can you describe what was new right now?
Thank you. My truck today, it's okay. For the condition is very difficult. The raining, no raining, I don't know.
What about the tires? I mean, you can't change in between 10 seconds, but how do you keep them dry?
My mechanics super job. Today I hope a podium. I hope a podium, yes.
Okay. So you're aiming for the podium. Thank you very much. Relax a bit right now. As you see, there's lots to do and lots of compliments for the technical crew, of course. So thank you very much.
Yeah, indeed. It certainly looks like they were comfortable up in the cab, as I mentioned earlier on, but that is definitely not the case. These guys worked very hard indeed. You have to really appreciate the scale and the weight of these machines. Very different to any other forms of motorsport that you tend to see. So we have a replay of the crash, apparently, so we will have a look and see exactly what happened. This is on board with Jochen Hahn. The two of them going straight on the grass, and that's where all of the gravel and all sorts got kicked up earlier on. And Anthony Janiek, there he is, arrives on the scene from the left-hand side, aquaplaning as well. Look at that, so many of them going off. So it was Anthony's truck spinning that really kicked up the grass, and of course Jochen as well. But that just shows you, even though, as I just mentioned there, the weight of these machines, they can still spin around and around and around. And here it is. He can't do anything about it and smacks into the side of Jochen's truck, almost going up the bank there as well. And the two of them managed to carry on, and he's very lucky indeed. I hate to say it, but he's very lucky that there wasn't still a truck coming around that corner there as he re-entered the circuit. They just about got away with that one there. And like you saw, the damage, it's all superficial on these trucks. There wasn't anything too severe, and it was all fixable by the time the session was over. But it can go just as badly wrong here as it can in any other form of motorsport. It's mad. Really, really mad indeed. But these guys wrestling around a lot. And as I was saying about Anthony Janiak there, you could tell that it was very tiring for him. They have to focus so much on making sure that they brake very early indeed. They cool the brakes and do all sorts as well. As you can see, some very, very different cars to what we've just been watching there. Some very different racing machinery out on track at the moment. But it's been a very intriguing and interesting qualifying and Super Pole broadcast. Norbert Kiss takes pole position for the third time out of 3 sessions so far this season, and he will start the first race of the day from pole alongside his sparring partner Jochen Hahn. It's going to be certainly an interesting race to see how those two get on. Can Jochen get his first win of the season? He didn't have the easiest of times at the Hungaroring. So it's going to be a long afternoon for the drivers and teams, especially if the conditions continue to do what they were doing before now. It looks like it may even be raining again right now down at the final corner. It's almost as if it sort of switches. There's sunshine in the background and now rain at the final corner, whereas it was the opposite a bit earlier on. But it certainly makes this very difficult circuit even more difficult for the drivers. And of course, for the teams as well, trying to get their setups right. We're just trying to get Christina another interview in the paddock. But as you saw, you know, the scale of the paddock is bigger than most others that you see because of the nature of these vehicles. So Christina will just be trying to get a word with some of the teams, maybe even some of the drivers as well. And yeah, we actually have her now in the paddock. So there we go. We'll hand down to Christina.
We are already live, Norbert Kiss. What a race, in between sunshine, in between rain. But finally you came out as first. First description of the race for you.
Yeah, it was, you know, epic. I've been racing for 15 years, but I never raced on such circuit. There was so big contrast, you know, to one part of the circuit and the other part of the circuit, because in the middle sector it was so wet that before the red flag I was on the grass as well, and I think probably others were on the grass as well. And then after it was a little bit better, but still very, very wet. But on the other side of the circuit, on this side of the circuit where we are now, it was completely dry. So it was very unique. And it's not even, you know, like the Nordschleife or whatever. It's most with, you know, 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers of length for riding. So, but still, it was epic, you know. And I'm really happy that we could do this and make the fastest time in such difficult conditions. But it was really fun.
And now you're ahead of race 1 in this weekend with these conditions. And our commentator Chaz Dreycourt said, seems like 2 countries sometimes that you're racing in. What do you expect from race 1?
I don't know. To be honest, I hope it will be dry, because in the rain it's always very, very you know, difficult and unexpected things can happen in the race. And I don't like unexpected things, you know. So I hope it dries up. Which you never know. I mean, what's up with this weather? Johan, thank you. It's crazy, you know. It's every hour it's dry and then raining again and dry and raining again. So you never know. But yeah, first position is important, and yeah, try to make a good start, stay in front, and win the first race.
Thank you very much and good luck. And as you heard, it was epic. And we're just at the qualifying. Imagine that. So we see you soon on our live stream. Ahead of race 2. We will be back soon. Thank you, our commentators, Iwitz and Dreycourt. Thank you very much. You've got the option between English commentation and German commentation. So stay tuned with us in this epic battle at the Autodrome in Most.